high blood pressure is referred to as the silent killer because there are often no obvious signs or symptoms as it progresses. And yet it increases the risk of serious conditions such as stroke, heart attack, and kidney disease. The World Health Organization released a report on the devastating impact of hypertension, and it said that early detection and proactive treatment could potentially prevent 76 million deaths worldwide.
Clues to preventing high blood pressure can be found in the small town of Ohasama, located in Iwate Prefecture in northern Japan. It's home to just over 4,000 people. For over 30 years, residents have received blood pressure monitors, resulting in the study of over 15,000 data sets. The data have revealed the risks of death linked to hypertension. George Sturgeon, the next president of the International Society of Hypertension, has praised the Ohasama study.
The study has been a landmark outcome study, basically for home, because I knew very little about this method, but also for ambulatory monitoring. I found today that there are 166 papers published from this Ohasama study, an amazing source of information on blood pressure measurement.
Today, we'll take a close look at new insights into preventing hypertension based on extensive data from this small Japanese town. Blood pressure refers to the force of blood against the inner artery walls. Systolic pressure occurs when the heart contracts, pumping blood out. Diastolic pressure happens when the heart relaxes and refills with blood. When blood pressure remains high, it puts a strain on the heart and can lead to disease. It also stretches blood vessels. If left untreated, they may rupture and cause a stroke. In 2020, the International Society of Hypertension set benchmarks for hypertension at 135 millimeters of mercury or higher for systolic pressure, and 85 millimeters of mercury or higher for diastolic pressure. These figures were based partly on the Ohasama study. Teikyo University professor Okubo Takayoshi has been involved in the study for nearly 30 years. He now serves as its representative.
Dr. Takayoshi, thank you so much for your time today. It's such a fascinating, long cohort study, so 今日よろしくお願いします。
はい、よろしくお願いします。
For the study, it was important that residents measured their blood pressure at home. Therefore, blood pressure monitors were given to each household.
What are the benefits of measuring blood pressure at home?
家庭で血圧を毎日測ってそれを記録してその平均的な値を見るということでその方の本来の血圧が分かる、そういう利点が家庭血圧にはあります。
So what's the best time of the day to measure blood pressure?
家庭での血圧は通常ですね、朝起きてから1時間以内、それから寝る前ですねというところで測定することが勧められています。なぜかというと朝起きるとそれから夜寝るっていうのは一日の中での基本的な行動であまりですね日常活動の影響を受けない時間帯だからです。
これが私がつけた12年分のデータです。
This 70-year-old man is taking part in the Ohasama study. Since 2012, he has been measuring and recording his blood pressure at home every morning and evening.
毎日自分で血圧を測ってその 数値を見ますのでね、そうすると高いのか低いのかっていうのが一目で分かりますので、やっぱり高い時はちょっとこれは要注意だなというような感じで。
He was diagnosed with hypertension and maintained stable blood pressure with medication. However, after 4 years of home monitoring, he noticed rapid fluctuations that hadn't happened before. This graph shows these changes. His systolic pressure ranged from 100 to over 140, at times even reaching 160. But it sometimes dropped to as low as 90 or 80. He received a detailed examination at a hospital and was found to have mild arrhythmia.
先生を紹介していただいて、その循環器の心臓の方の治療っていうかアブレーション治療をやっていただきました。
Daily blood pressure monitoring resulted in early detection of his condition. The man now leads a normal daily life without any problems. The Ohasama study has revealed that daily blood pressure fluctuations raise the risk of disease.
血圧の変動が大きい方というのは、そうでない方と比べて将来脳卒中や循環器疾患を起こしやすいということも分かってきました。あと家庭での血圧の日間変動ですね、日ごとの変動が大きい方は将来認知機能が低下していくリスクも高いなんてことも分かっています。
This graph shows morning blood pressure fluctuations in around 2,400 study participants and their 10-year risk of dying from cardiovascular disease. For people with a blood pressure of 120, those with small variations had a mortality risk of about 0.7%. Those with larger swings had nearly double the risk at about 1.5%. For people with a blood pressure of 150, the mortality rate was about 1.3% for the low fluctuation group. It was around 3% for the high fluctuation group. The researchers also checked the cognitive function of close to 500 participants. They found that those with larger blood pressure fluctuations were 2.72 times more likely to experience cognitive decline than those with smaller fluctuations. The Ohasama study was the world's first to reveal a major gap between blood pressure measured at home and in a hospital. When blood pressure is measured in a hospital, the unfamiliar environment can cause stress, leading to higher readings. This is known as white coat hypertension. However, the condition shouldn't be dismissed as mere nervousness at the hospital.
この白衣高血圧の方、将来脳卒中や循環器病を起こすリスクというのは家庭での血圧が高い方に比べては低いんですけれども、だんだんとですね、家での血圧も高くなってくるということが分かりました。スピードがちょっと速いんですね、普通の人よりも。10年20年という長い時を経過しますと本当の高血圧になりやすいということが分かってきました。
The researchers tracked around 130 people with white coat hypertension over 8 years. They found that those with the condition were 1.8 times more likely than normal to develop long-term hypertension. They also found that people with sustained hypertension were 2.83 times more likely to have a stroke 10 years later compared to those with normal blood pressure.
悪意高血圧の方は安心するのではなく、定期的に家庭での血圧測定を行って血圧が上がってくるようであれば、適切な予防治療を開始するというのが大事だというふうにさまざまな国のガイドライン等で示されています。
There's another reason why the data collected in the Ohasama study are considered valuable. They include measurements of blood pressure over 24 hours. When the study began, the measuring device weighed about 1 kilogram. Residents wore it for an entire day, even while doing farm work and sleeping.
This is good weight training anyway. It's quite heavy.
この機械を皆さん24時間つけていただきました。
I'm sure it wasn't easy for people to wear this 24 hours a day. It's quite heavy on the body.
一度やった方はもう二度とやらないという方もいました。あとは夜寝てる間にどうしてもね、眠りが妨げられちゃうっていう、そういう苦情も多かったですね。我慢できない人は無意識にこれを外してぶん投げちゃったりとかねしてる人もいましたけどね。24時間の血圧を測定するということによって普通の血圧測定ではできない夜の血圧を測るということができます。その結果、この夜の血圧というものには優れたその方の将来を予測する力があるということが分かってきました。
The research team measured the 24-hour blood pressure of around 1,500 residents. It analyzed their risk of dying from cardiovascular disease over about 9 years. They found that compared with people whose blood pressure fell at night, people with normal blood pressure and no nighttime drop were 2.35 times more likely to die. Those who had hypertension and no nighttime drop had a 5.37 times higher risk of death.
普通ですね、寝ると血圧は下がるんですね。それが一般的な人たちなんですが、一部の人はですね、夜寝ても血圧が下がらないとか、あるいは血圧が夜寝てる方が高い、そういう人もいらっしゃるんですね。血圧のディップがないということでノンディッパーなんていうふうに呼ばれます。夜寝ても血圧が下がらない、そういったことが原因で脳卒中や循環器疾患を起こしやすいなんてことも分かっています。
And in the study, what percentage of people were non-dippers?
ノンディッパーの方は約 20% ですかね。ですから意外に多いですね。で、特に年齢が高くなるほど、特に男性でですね、このノンディッパーの頻度というのが増えるというふうに言われていますので、そういった方は特に注意が必要です。
Data from the Ohasama study have led to the introduction of online medical consultations for hypertensive patients in Japan.
聞こえますか？
はい、聞こえます。
はい、こんにちは。
こんにちは。
はい、じゃあお名前と生年月日を教えてください。
An estimated 43 million people have hypertension in Japan, but it's believed that about 40% are not being treated for their condition. Yatabe Junichi believes that online medical consultations make it easier for patients to see a doctor.
体調の様子を見ながら決めていただいたりとか、血圧を測りながらお薬を変えたりとかしてもらってるので、やっぱり安心ですよね。
お家で測っていただいて、それをインターネット越しに見た方が、来てもらって血圧を測ってそれを評価するよりも価値が高いということになるんですね。で、これはもう大狭間研究の結果がなければ、得られなかった。
Yatabe always checks measurements taken immediately after waking up. This is data from a 64-year-old patient who measured his blood pressure at home for 8 months. The red line represents his morning readings, and the blue line shows his evening readings. In the mornings, his systolic pressure was around 150, while in the evenings, it was about 130. His morning blood pressure was always higher.
この患者さんの特徴は朝と夜の血圧の差が大きいというのが特徴で、朝の血圧だけが高いという方によくあるのが、最近では睡眠時無呼吸症候群というのが注目されていた。
Sleep apnea syndrome, or SAS, is a condition in which breathing stops for at least 10 seconds, 5 times or more per hour during sleep. When breathing stops and starts repeatedly, rapid blood pressure fluctuations occur in a short period. If left untreated, this can lead to hypertension that is resistant to medication. Yatabe not only prescribed him hypertensive drugs, but also treated his SAS to improve his blood pressure.
朝飲んでいる薬を夜に動かして、そうすると夜薬を飲むことで朝までよく効くというふうになることもありますので、はい、そういう機動的な服薬の調節にもこういったシステムは役立っていますね。
I think a lot of people are reluctant to start taking them because they think they can't stop. What are your thoughts on this?
比較的若い方、あるいはそれほど血圧が高くないうちに血圧の薬を始めた方では、血圧の薬を飲み始めた後でやめるということも可能になっています。例えばですね、肥満だった方、あるいはお酒をすごく飲んでいて、それでですね血圧が高かったような方は血圧の薬を一時期は飲んだとしても、その減量に成功する、あるいは禁酒に成功するといったことで血圧が下がると血圧の薬をやめることができます。またですね、働き盛りの方ですね、仕事をしている世代の方は仕事のストレスでやっぱり血圧が上がっちゃうような方もいるんですね。でそういう方というのは仕事を辞めると血圧がストーンと下がって、血圧の薬がいらなくなる、そういう方も意外に多くいらっしゃいます。で問題になるのは、血圧の薬を、飲みたくないということで、高い状態が続いたままですごく高くなってようやく血圧の薬を飲み始めちゃう人ですね。そういう方の場合は血圧の薬をもうやめるチャンスというのはかなり少なくなっています。ですから家庭血圧で高血圧をしっかりと若いうちから把握して早めに血圧の薬を飲み始めるというのが今は推奨されています。
Walking and jogging are considered effective in preventing hypertension because they boost cardiopulmonary function and improve blood flow. A Japanese research team discovered that light jogging has a significant impact on the brain and helps improve hypertension. The study was led by Sawada Yasuhiro from the National Rehabilitation Center for Persons with Disabilities. The team conducted experiments using rats with hypertension. Sawada had the rats run at a moderate exercise pace of 20 meters per minute for 30 minutes. It came to his attention that a 1G force was applied to the rats' brains during this exercise. In another experiment, he gave anesthesia to rats to put them to sleep. He then moved their heads up and down to apply a 1G force to their brains. He found that simply moving the heads of the sleeping rats improved hypertension, just as running did. Sawada examined in detail what was happening in the rats' brains. In the brain are cells called astrocytes that regulate blood pressure. When blood pressure rises, they express a protein called angiotensin II type 1 receptor, or AT1R. Stronger expression is believed to increase the likelihood of hypertension. This is an image of the blood pressure regulation area in a rat's brain. Glowing in yellow are the AT1R proteins expressed in the astrocytes. After 4 weeks of head movement, the levels of AT1R shown in yellow were reduced. This chart shows the number of astrocytes expressing AT1R. Compared with rats that did not undergo head movement, there was a 55% decrease in astrocytes expressing AT1R. Sawada did an experiment to verify the findings in humans.
時速7キロで歩く、あるいは走るとですね、頭に1時ぐらいの衝撃が加わるということが分かりました。
Sawada created a special chair that applies a force of 1G to the head of the person who sits on it. He had people with hypertension sit on it for 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week, for a month. Afterward, he looked at changes in their blood pressure. Their average systolic blood pressure dropped by 9 millimeters of mercury.
大体、皆さん1ヶ月乗っていただくんですが、やめても統計上は1ヶ月後までは血圧が元よりは低い状態を維持しました。
Sawada believes that even without the special chair, similar effects can be achieved using a balance ball to move the head up and down. He also thinks the device could help improve hypertension in bedridden people or those with disabilities, and is continuing his research.
So today on the program we have a very special guest who is a sports scientist, professor of sports science from Gunma University. Thank you so much for your time today.
No, thank you very much.
今日よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
Koyama Keita worked as a trainer in Major League Baseball after graduating from university. He also trained Japan's national college baseball team. He will show us exercises using a ball that can improve hypertension.
I can introduce the hand grip strength. Otedama, it's a Japanese traditional toy.
Otedama are soft cloth bags filled with azuki beans or rice.
They're so pretty. These are really pretty. Where can you buy these from?
You can buy in the internet, or
Oh, really?
if you go travel around like old city, like Asakusa somewhere, you can find it.
Okay. Oh, great. These are so cute.
The key to this exercise is to use a soft ball that can be firmly grasped to strengthen your grip. If you don't have otedama, you can also fold a towel into thirds and roll it up to make a soft ball. A Japanese study found that after 53 hypertensive patients performed grip strength training for 8 weeks, their morning and evening blood pressure readings improved. First, toss the ball back and forth from one hand to the other. Repeat 10 times.
This activates your brain, your nervous system, your entire body, which, getting circulation, more.
So it's activating so many different parts of the brain, not just contracting the blood vessels and relaxing, dilating the blood vessels, also activating the brain, which is really important.
So now you're doing in front of chest,
Yes.
going up to above head.
Next, throw the ball from one hand to the other above your head, repeating 10 times. Extend your arms fully and avoid looking at the ball.
If you raise up your arms, your circulation going up.
Okay, great. Oh, this is a fun one.
Then, do the same movement behind your back, also repeating 10 times. By moving your back muscles, you are stretching the muscles in your chest and around your ribs, helping to relieve any stiffness.
Oh.
Back. Because,
yeah, it's not easy. Because also you can't see it, so you have to really use your brain. Oh. Everyone's laughing at me.
And I want you to use like scapula going like closer.
Okay,
yes,
great.
like that. Good.
Now, lean forward slightly while keeping your legs straight. Throwing and catching the ball in this position stimulates your buttocks and calves, improving blood flow. Spread your legs shoulder-width apart and toss and catch the ball behind your knees, 5 times on each side. Finally, we'll perform squats while lightly holding an otedama in each hand. Extend your arms forward while keeping your back straight to boost blood flow in your upper body. Squatting in this position can also promote blood flow in the lower body, helping blood circulate throughout. Be careful not to overexert yourself.
And
I'll watch you
slowly bring back your glute. 5 seconds. And raise up in 5 seconds. Make sure you not
Okay,
holding
gripping
too tight.
much. Yeah, I think it was holding too tight.
3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good.
You're activating so many different muscle
Yes,
groups when you're
yes.
doing this. And I think the focus when you have your hands lightly gripping.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。